Dave Portnoy didn't just offer $100 million to Caitlin Clark. He tossed a grenade into the WNBA's front office and dared them to do something about it. This wasn't a tweet, a podcast rant, or some publicity stunt. This was a real, calculated offer with dollar signs big enough to shake the entire foundation of women's professional basketball. And if Clark took it, it could wipe the WNBA off the map. Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, might want to pretend that everything is under control. But her recent comments, downplaying Caitlin Clark's value and brushing off her cultural impact, didn't just miss the mark. They lit a fire under the ongoing conversation about how little the league actually supports its biggest star. Add that to years of shaky leadership, and Portnoy's offer doesn't look so outlandish. It looks like an escape hatch. Caitlin Clark has already become the face of women's basketball, not because the league made her one, but because she is one. She's driving viewership, selling out arenas, and shattering records. Meanwhile, the WNBA is riding her wave without offering much more than side-eye and underwhelming paychecks in return. It's no secret that the league's ratings nosedive when she's not on the court. That kind of dependence isn't just obvious. It's embarrassing. Portnoy saw the writing on the wall. One player is holding this league together with sheer force of popularity, and if she wanted to, she could walk away and build something bigger and better, backed by real money. With investors already circling the women's sports world, all it would take is one bold move to kickstart a new era, and Clark's already in the perfect position to pull the trigger. It's not just about the money, it's about power. A player-first league that values athletes beyond just ticket sales and PR moments would flip the entire model on its head. And Portnoy, for all his controversies, knows how to exploit a broken system when he sees one. The WNBA might think it still has control, but this offer made one thing very clear. If Caitlin Clark leaves, she won't just be missed. She might take the whole league with her. Dave Portnoy just lit a match and tossed it straight into the heart of the WNBA, and the internet is watching to see if it burns. In what might be the most chaotic power move women's basketball has ever seen, the Barstool Sports founder offered Caitlin Clark a jaw-dropping $100 million to start her own league, not join a different team. Not sign an endorsement deal. No. Start a whole new league, effectively threatening to nuke the WNBA from orbit. And all of this is happening at a time when Clark's star power isn't just rising, it's carrying the entire sport on its back. So yeah, the WNBA is sweating. This isn't some random flex from Portnoy either. The $100 million proposal is serious, and it lands right in the middle of growing tension between Clark, the league, and a fan base that's starting to question the WNBA's leadership. At the center of it all is WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, whose recent comment about Caitlin Clark sparked outrage and exposed a deeper, much uglier truth about how the league treats its biggest star. Let's be real. Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie. She's the reason ratings are through the roof. She's breaking records, dominating headlines, and drawing fans who never gave women's basketball a second look before. The numbers don't lie. When Clark's playing, people watch. When she's not so much. And the WNBA knows it. They just don't seem to appreciate it. Instead of celebrating her, Commissioner Engelbert has been making dismissive remarks that downplay Clark's impact. It's the kind of PR blunder that would get laughed out of a business school classroom. The league's top executive, instead of leaning into Clark's historic rise, is giving the impression that she's just another name on the roster. And fans are not having it. The result? A perfect storm. Fans are frustrated. The media is circling, and now Dave Portnoy sees a golden opportunity. He's not just dangling a $100 million carrot in front of Caitlin Clark. He's holding a wrecking ball over the WNBA's fragile foundation. And make no mistake, fragile is the word here. Because if the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark to survive, which increasingly looks like it does, then Portnoy's offer is more than generous. It's dangerous. It's a wake-up call. If Clark ever decided to leave and take her audience with her, the WNBA could be looking at a full-blown collapse. It sounds dramatic, but look at the math. If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. The league's highest ratings are tied to Clark's games. Her jersey? Bestseller. Her highlights? Viral every time. She's not just a player, she's a market force. And the league's dependence on her isn't subtle anymore. It's painfully obvious. If your entire business model hinges on one athlete showing up, then you don't have a league. You have a gamble. So what happens if Clark calls a bluff? Portnoy's deal isn't some fantasy. He's got the cash, the clout, and the chaos factor. He's already built Barstool into a media juggernaut, and now he's got his eyes on women's sports, a space that's finally gaining mainstream attention and investment. And he's not alone. Billionaire investors are circling, and the potential for a new, player-driven league is real. One that values athletes, gives them ownership, and puts star power front and center. In other words, the exact opposite of what the WNBA has been doing. Now, to be fair, Caitlin Clark hasn't jumped ship. Not yet. She's shown loyalty to the league, to her team, and to the sport that got her here. But loyalty only goes so far when you're being undervalued by the very people cashing in on your name. If the disrespect keeps coming, if the league keeps treating her like a problem instead of a gift, how long until she decides enough is enough? That's the question keeping WNBA executives up at night. And fans are already talking. People are openly speculating. What if Caitlin Clark leaves? What if she builds something new? Would other stars follow her? Could a rival league actually dethrone the WNBA? Honestly, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. The NBA didn't always dominate either. Leagues rise and fall on the backs of players who know their worth. And Caitlin Clark knows exactly how valuable she is. She's not just a good player. She's a generational one. She's doing for women's basketball what Steph Curry did for shooting, what Serena did for tennis, what Tiger did for golf. She's changing the game. And the WNBA should be protecting that at all costs. But instead, they're fumbling the bag. Engelbert's leadership is being called into question more than ever. The dismissiveness, the tone-deaf comments, the apparent inability to manage the league's biggest moment in decades. It's not a good look. And fans aren't the only ones noticing. Media, sponsors, and investors are all watching to see whether the WNBA can actually capitalize on the Caitlin Clark effect, or if they're going to blow it. Meanwhile, Portnoy is out here playing chess while the WNBA is stuck in checkers. His $100 million offer isn't just about Clark. It's about disrupting the entire system. It's about creating a league that understands modern media, leverages social engagement, and turns athletes into brand partners instead of just employees. It's the kind of power shift that could redefine women's sports altogether. And the timing couldn't be better, or worse, depending on which side you're on. Women's basketball is growing fast. Brands are interested. Audiences are engaged. The market is wide open for innovation. All it takes is one bold move, one athlete willing to walk away and build something better. If Caitlin Clark becomes that athlete, game over. So where does that leave the WNBA? Cornered, dependent, vulnerable. They built the season around a single player, but treated her like she's replaceable. They've gotten the ratings, the clicks, the buzz, all thanks to her. But when it came time to show real support, crickets, or worse, condescension. And now the most unpredictable guy in sports media is offering her an out, a kingdom of her own. Will she take it? That's the $1 million, or more accurately, $100 million question. Right now, she's still showing up, still playing, still smiling through the chaos. But if the disrespect continues, if the league keeps proving it doesn't deserve her, that smile might come with a mic drop. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA. Not anymore. But the WNBA, they need her more than they'll ever admit. So here we are, one superstar, one outrageous offer, one league in crisis, and a whole lot of eyes watching to see what happens next. The clock's ticking. So let's hand out some fake awards while we wait. Biggest miscalculation in sports PR goes to Kathy Engelbert. If you're trying to alienate your one golden goose, mission accomplished. Most likely to accidentally start a revolution? That's Caitlin Clark. All she has to do is say yes. Lifetime achievement in chaotic capitalism? Dave Portnoy, obviously. Say what you will about the guy, but when he swings big. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Should Caitlin Clark take the $100 million and build her own league? Is this the future of women's sports? Or will the WNBA finally wake up and do right by its biggest star? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe for more Meltdown Madness and buckle up because this drama is far from over. Because let's be honest, this isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. This is about something way bigger. This is about who gets to control the future of women's sports. For years, the WNBA has been fighting for legitimacy, recognition, respect. And a lot of those battles were uphill. Lack of funding, lack of coverage, lack of viewership. But now, thanks to Clark, those numbers are finally shifting. We're seeing packed arenas, surging TV ratings, and sponsorship dollars rolling in. The momentum is real. But here's the kicker. The league isn't moving with that momentum. They're acting like it's business as usual, like they don't need to adapt, like Clark's historic rise isn't something they need to protect and nurture. Instead, they're treating her like a threat, a disruption, a PR liability. What? This should have been the victory lap. This should have been the thank you, Caitlin Clark era. Instead, the WNBA is fumbling basic optics and alienating the very player who just put them back on the map. And now, because of that arrogance, that dismissiveness, they've opened the door for someone like Portnoy to come charging in with a better offer, a way better offer. A player-led league with $100 million in backing? That's not just fantasy. That's a model we've seen before. Look at LIV Golf. Look at the nil boom in college athletics. Look at how much influence players have when they own their image, their brand, their power. Clark is perfectly positioned to lead that charge. She's got the audience. She's got the respect. And now she's got the leverage. Meanwhile, the WNBA is over here pretending like none of this is happening. Like fans don't notice. Like their entire existence isn't riding on Clark showing up every week. And yeah, it's getting harder and harder to ignore the fact that without her, things start to look a lot quieter. The media's been quick to point it out. The numbers speak for themselves. Clark steps on the court, ratings double, sometimes triple. She sits, the buzz disappears. It's like flipping a switch. And yet, the commissioner shrugs, dismisses it, acts like it's no big deal. Is that leadership or denial? Because from the outside looking in, it feels like the WNBA is willfully blind to its own vulnerability. And fans aren't stupid. They're seeing it. They're watching the league cling to outdated playbooks while the entire sports world shifts around them. And then Dave Portnoy comes in with a sledgehammer. Now, say what you want about Portnoy. He's polarizing, sure, but he understands attention. He knows how to make a spectacle. And in today's media-driven sports ecosystem, attention is currency. He's not offering Clark $100 million out of the kindness of his heart. He sees the business upside. He sees Clark's fan base, her media pull, the brand deals, the virality. He sees what the WNBA refuses to admit. She's bigger than the league. And that right there, that's the problem. The WNBA should have been building around Clark from the jump. They should have treated her like the cornerstone, not the outlier. But instead of rolling out the red carpet, they rolled their eyes. So now the league is stuck in a lose-lose. Either they double down and risk pushing Clark away, or they backtrack and admit they messed up, and with Portnoy's offer looming, that decision has real consequences. Let's talk business for a second. The $100 million isn't just money, it's a signal. It tells every other top player watching from the sidelines that there's another way, a better way, one where they're not just athletes, but owners, decision-makers, partners. If Clark takes that deal, she doesn't just walk away from the WNBA. She breaks the system wide open, and it won't stop with her. Because once a star of her caliber defects, others follow. That's how it always goes. The league loses its gravitational center, and suddenly, everything else starts to drift. Sponsors pull out, viewers shift, players reconsider. We've seen it before in other sports. A single domino falls, and the whole structure starts shaking. And let's be real, how many players in the WNBA are truly satisfied with how things are being run right now? How many are frustrated with pay, visibility, treatment? Clark may be the face of the revolution, but she wouldn't be alone. Portnoy's timing is ruthless, but it's also kind of genius. He's jumping in right when public frustration with the league is boiling over. right when fans are already questioning Engelbert's leadership, right when Clark is arguably at her peak in terms of influence. This isn't some chaotic long shot. It's a calculated shot right at the heart of the WNBA's insecurity. And the response? Radio silence. No counteroffer. No press blitz. No real effort to publicly defend their star. Just awkward tension. You'd think they'd try to reassure fans, double down on their commitment to the future. But nope. It's like they're waiting for the storm to pass. Except this isn't weather. This is structural. What Portnoy is offering is more than just freedom from the WNBA. It's the promise of something new, a women's basketball league that understands modern fandom, that builds media around its players instead of hiding them behind a bland corporate wall, that lets stars own their image, monetize their moments, and shape the league in their own voice. Can the WNBA say the same? Or are they too busy defending the status quo? Here's the thing. Athletes today aren't just performers. They're brands, influencers, entrepreneurs. Clark, at 23, already knows how to move the needle better than most sports execs 3 times her age. And if someone like Portnoy is willing to hand her the keys, why wouldn't she at least consider taking the wheel? Loyalty is noble, sure, but respect? That's non-negotiable. And right now, Caitlin Clark is getting more of it from outsiders with checkbooks than from the league she helped revive. It's ironic, isn't it? The WNBA finally gets the moment it's been waiting for. The star, the audience, the buzz. And instead of protecting it, they act like they're too proud to admit she's the reason any of it's happening. That kind of denial doesn't just stall progress. It invites disruption. Portnoy saw that, and he moved in fast. Now the league is cornered, and Clark holds all the cards. So what does she do? That's the $100 million question. Literally. She hasn't said yes. But she hasn't said no either. And even if she doesn't take the offer, just the existence of that option shifts the entire balance of power. It shows that the old model isn't the only model. That players have leverage. That leagues have to earn their talent's loyalty, not just expect it. That's the real story here. This isn't just about Clark or Portnoy or even Engelbert. It's about the shifting power dynamics in sports. It's about how we value athletes, especially women, and how institutions react when one of them becomes bigger than the brand. The WNBA is standing at a cliff's edge, and whether Clark jumps or not, the cracks are already forming. The question is, do they build a bridge or pretend the edge isn't there? Either way, change is coming. The only real mystery is who's going to lead it. Clark? Portnoy? Or a league finally ready to wake up? We'll be watching. Caitlin Clark has outgrown the league she just entered, and that's not a dig at the sport. It's not a shot at her teammates. It's just the cold reality of modern celebrity and the way sports media works now. When you're pulling in Super Bowl-level ratings for a regular season women's basketball game, you're no longer just part of the machine. You are the machine. That kind of gravitational pull, that's once-in-a-generation stuff. And the WNBA, they got generational talent. And they're treating her like she's just another rookie with a jump shot. It would almost be funny if it weren't so predictable. Because what we're watching isn't just a league fumbling a PR opportunity. It's a textbook example of an old system struggling to adapt to a new era. They don't know what to do with someone like Clark. She doesn't fit their mold. She's too big, too fast, too loud. She's not waiting for them to catch up. And now that someone like Dave Portnoy has come and offered her the keys to a brand new empire, the WNBA's slow, cautious approach looks less like strategy and more like sabotage. Whether intentional or not, the league has created an environment where Clark staying loyal looks more like self-sacrifice than pride. Let's break it down. She's driving ratings. She's filling stadiums. She's inspiring young athletes, generating merch sales, and pulling in crossover audiences from college ball, NBA fans, and even people who've never watched a minute of women's sports before. She's a cultural moment, a phenomenon, and in response, the league's leadership has been lukewarm. That's not just bad business. It's insulting, because while the WNBA is still trying to decide if she's worthy of superstar treatment, billionaires like Portnoy are already writing the check. They're betting on her, because they understand the game has changed. The new sports economy isn't about league loyalty. It's about individual leverage. And Caitlin Clark has all of it. The offer itself? $100 million to launch a player-first league that gives stars equity and autonomy? That's not just a bag. That's a full-blown coup. And if you don't think other athletes are watching this go down and taking notes, you're kidding yourself. Because deep down, even the players who love the WNBA know the truth. It's underfunded, underpromoted, and undervalues its own. The potential is there, sure, but potential doesn't pay the bills. And when someone like Clark walks in with this much power and still gets side-eyed by the commissioner, that tells you everything. The message from the top has been clear. Don't get too big. Don't outshine the logo. But Clark is the logo now. And if the WNBA can't evolve to meet her where she is, then someone else will. That's not a threat. That's a guarantee. So what happens if she says yes? Let's play it out. Caitlin Clark accepts Portnoy's deal. She launches her own league with investor backing. Top players defect. Sponsors follow. Networks chase the rights. And suddenly, the WNBA is no longer the only game in town. It's the second option. Even if it doesn't happen overnight, the damage is done. The illusion of stability cracks. The myth that the league holds all the power evaporates. And the narrative flips. From Clark needing the WNBA to the WNBA needing her and losing her anyway. That's legacy-shattering stuff. And here's the wildest part. This could have all been avoided. All the league had to do was recognize her value from the start. Not just in Instagram posts. Not just in interviews. But in action. In pay. In protection. In public support. Instead, they hesitated. They played politics. They tried to flatten her shine into something more manageable. And now the reckoning is here. Clark hasn't even made a move yet. And the league is already on the defensive. Fans are frustrated. Players are divided. And Portnoy? He's sitting back, watching the chaos unfold, knowing that his offer's already done its job. Because now the conversation is no longer, will Caitlin Clark lead the WNBA? But does she even need it anymore? That shift in tone? That's the real disruption. Because whether she takes a deal or not, she's shown every other elite athlete what's possible. That staying loyal to a league that won't fight for you isn't the only path. That owning your platform is more powerful than begging for one. And now, the ball's in her court, literally and figuratively. She can stay and hope the WNBA finally wakes up. Or she can go and build something better. Either way, she's in control. And when athletes take control, the system has no choice but to change. So buckle up, because no matter what she chooses, the sport will never be the same again. Let's keep the drama going. Drop your thoughts below. Should Clark flip the script and build a new empire? Or can the WNBA still recover from this mess? And if you were in her shoes, would you take the $100 million and never look back? Subscribe for more pop culture chaos, sports meltdowns, and billion-dollar blunders. Because if this saga has taught us anything, it's that no one is safe when the power shifts, and Caitlin Clark might just be holding the detonator.